One is working.
Yes, ma'am.
Shatakshi,
Present, ma'am.
just a minute. Anish Das,
Present, ma'am.
Annesha Ghosh,
Present, ma'am.
Annesha, right?
It's Onvesha.
Annesha,
Yes, ma'am.
Shaugato, Shaugato Mondol, Richak, Abhishek Dubey,
Present, ma'am.
Abir Pal,
Present, ma'am.
Shruti Chatterjee, Trishita Vallabh,
Present, ma'am.
Debargho Som,
Present, ma'am.
Anurup Guha Thakurata, Shubhayan De, Shagnik Das, সৌরদীপ ধর,
Present.
লেহের গুপ্তা, সুতপা দত্ত,
Present, ma'am.
শিবানী সাহু,
Present, ma'am.
তৃষিতা ঘোষ,
Present, ma'am.
অঙ্কিতা হালদার, অঙ্কুশ রয়,
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am, I am Shutapa Datta. Ma'am, I am present.
yes, সুতপা দত্ত is marked present. No issue.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, sir.
দেবেশ মিশ্রা,
Present, ma'am.
অঙ্কিতা দে,
Present, ma'am.
সায়ন্তী মুখোপাধ্যায়,
Present, ma'am.
দীৎসা রক্ষিত,
Present, ma'am.
চয়ন কুমার গুই,
Present, ma'am.
অনিরুদ্ধ সোম, যুক্তা মালাকার,
Present, ma'am.
সায়ন পাল, তনিমা দাস, সৃজা মুখার্জি, সৌভিক মাহাতো,
Present, ma'am.
রত্নদীপ ঘোষাল,
Present, ma'am.
মঞ্জিরা নন্দী, রোহন সাহা,
Present, ma'am.
দীপক সোরেন, অন্বেষা বৈরাগী,
Present, ma'am.
সুপ্রিয় রয়, অরিজিৎ সিংহ,
Present, ma'am.
প্রিয়াঙ্কা সিং,
Present, ma'am.
স্নেহা আগরওয়াল,
Present, ma'am.
অঙ্কিতা দেব,
Present, ma'am.
অস্মিতা রয়,
Present, ma'am.
শ্রেয়সী সরকার,
Present, ma'am.
প্রদীপ্ত চক্রবর্তী, প্রদীপ্তা
Present, ma'am.
সরি, প্রদীপ্ত
প্রীতিদীপ।
না ঠিকই আছে,
প্রীতিদীপ্ত।
রোহান আগরওয়াল,
Present, ma'am.
সুখদেব বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়,
Present, ma'am.
রাজদীপ দত্ত,
Present, ma'am.
সাগ্নিক বণিক,
Present, ma'am.
অয়ন পাল,
Present, ma'am.
ফারিন ইমরান,
Present, ma'am.
সায়ন্তিকা ভৌমিক,
Present, ma'am.
অরজ্যোতি কুণ্ডু।
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I am Shruti Chatterjee. My mic is not working at that moment when you called my name.
Okay.
Ma'am, I am Aniruddha Som.
Just a minute. Aniruddha. 1 minute.
Ma'am,
1 minute.
Sagnik Das, I'm present.
One by one. One by one, huh? Aniruddha, then Shruti. Shruti.
Ma'am Srija Mukherjee.
Huh. Shruti, then Srija.
I'm Sagnik Das.
अच्छा जाओ एक मिनट Srija
Ma'am,
Shagni.
Deepak joined the meeting.
Who?
Deepak.
Deepak. Okay. Shagnik Das, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Deepak. Where is Deepak? 1 minute. Yes. Okay. Okay. Before starting the class, let me ask you rather, do you have any class from 4 to 5 today?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then I will take the class from 4 to 5 also. And the same link of today today's class, but I will share it with you again. 4 to 5 today, huh?
Excuse me,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I won't be able to attend the 4 to 5 class. Will you be taking attendance?
Yes.
Ma'am, can you
If I
shift it up? Can you shift it before 3:30 or after 5:30 if everybody is okay with
no,
it?
actually, what happened? No, actually, what happened? At 5:30 we have a departmental meeting. Otherwise, I will take the class from 5 to 6.
Oh,
But the problem is I have to attend that meeting, na? So that is why I am taking the class from 4 to 5.
okay,
But
ma'am.
what is the other option? Because I think from 3 to 4 you may have your GE class, na?
Yes, yes. Oh, yes, we do have a GE class as well from 3 to 4.
Yes. So not possible for 3 to 4, and I will finish the class at around 1, and then after again
Mm.
if I take the class from 2, it's something মানে এটা ঠিক ঠিক হবে না আর কি, it's injustice. So
Yeah.
that is
Okay, ma'am. I'll
okay.
see. I'll see if I can manage.
Yes, yes, it's better. Anything? Anything else you want to say? Anyone? Deepak. Again Deepak. Why? Actually, I was preparing your uh, slides. Anyway, so we have discussed any problem from the yesterday's class? Up to this point, we have discussed. If you have any problem, you can ask. Otherwise, I will proceed. I have shared my 2 classes in your LMS. Okay. Let me discuss with the properties of the indifference curve. So we have discussed about the indifference curve. Now what is indifference curve? It is the combination of consumption of 2 commodities so that my total utility will be constant. Okay, so that is the indifference curve, and it is negatively sloped, it is convex, and the basic reason behind the convexity is the law of diminishing marginal utility, or you can say, okay, it's the because of the diminishing MRS. But the reason behind diminishing MRS is law of diminishing marginal utility. And we have discussed about MRS. This is nothing but the absolute value of the slope of the IC, that is the MUX by MUY, marginal rate of substitution. So here comes the properties. So what are the properties? The first property is higher IC means higher utility. How can you prove it? Check. Say that pink indifference curve is my initial indifference curve. Okay. So given that I am consuming some amount of X and some amount of Y, I should write X and Y here. You don't forget to write these. Huh? So anyway, I am consuming 2 commodities. Now, given the consumption of Y, if I am increasing consumption of X, that means I am moving like this. given the consumption of y, if I am increasing my consumption of x, so my total utility is increasing, right? Now, if my total utility is increasing, that means it is not possible for me to be on that pink indifference curve. Okay, higher total utility means I must be on the higher indifference curve. Okay, so new indifference curve for me is that orange one. Okay? So if that orange one is IC2 and the pink one is IC1, then I must say IC2 is greater than IC1. Okay? So the total utility corresponding to this orange indifference curve is greater than the total utility along the pink indifference curve. Okay, so higher indifference curve means higher utility. Now here I must mention, sometimes the question is like that, draw indifference map. There will be some situation, the situations will be given there, and given that situation, the question is like that, you have to draw one indifference map. Remember, indifference map. So here in that curve, in your diagram, there must be three indifference curves. Okay, if the diagram has three or more indifference curves of the same individual, this is called indifference map. Okay, so it is not written here, so that is why I am telling you indifference map, map. Okay, you know the map of India, so it's the indifference map. So in your map you must have at least three indifference curves. Okay, so here the first property is done. What is the second property? Two indifference curves cannot intersect each other. Say they are intersecting. So there are two indifference curves. One is the red one, another is the green one. Say they are intersecting each other at the point A. Fine. Now look, A and B, they are on the red indifference curve, right? So we can say that total utility at A, or rather I can say A is indifferent to B. Is it okay to you?
Yes,
They are
ma'am.
on the same, yes? Yes, what is your question?
No, ma'am. I said it is clear.
Okay. So A is indifferent to B because they are on the same indifference curve. So consumer is indifferent between A and B. So I can say A is indifferent to B. Now on the green indifference curve, A is actually the common point. Huh? So A and C, they are on the green indifference curve. So I can say A is indifferent to C. So what I am getting? A is indifferent to B. A is indifferent to C. So with the transitivity property, I can say then B is indifferent to C, right? This is our transitivity property check. Yeah, look, if A is preferred to B is preferred to C, then A is preferred to C. So I am saying that A is indifferent to B, A is indifferent to C, then B is indifferent to C. In my diagram, I am saying this. But look, B and C, they are on different indifference curves, right? B and C, they are not on the same indifference curve. They are on different indifference curve. So B is not indifferent to C. If they are indifferent, then they should be on the same indifference curve, right? As they are on the different indifference curve, so I can say B is not indifferent to C. They are different actually. So intersection is not possible. Okay, so two indifference curve cannot intersect each other. So here I must mention one thing. That means two indifference curve is intersecting here doesn't mean okay fine. Here it is not intersecting, but it may intersect here. You may say me that okay fine, it is not intersecting here. I'm agree with you, but say they are intersecting here. No, they never intersect each other. Then how to assure that they will never intersect each other? If two indifference curves are parallel to each other, then only it is possible, right? If two indifference curves are parallel to each other, then only it is possible. So here remember one thing, when you will draw your indifference curve, they should be parallel to each other. Okay? Okay. And here remember one
Ma'am,
more thing. We will discuss the shifting of the indifference curve and etc. for a single consumer. There also remember it should not be like this. One indifference curve we have drawn like this, another indifference curve you have drawn like this, and you are saying, look, they are not intersecting. Now, if your examiner is like that, then he or she can just raise with his or her pen. He will just raise that. He will just raise that and show. Look, they are intersecting each other. So you will not get any marks. Okay, so that will be your marks. Okay, so try to maintain that parallel property in your single diagram. Don't try to do that. Always try to make parallel to each other in difference curve. Okay, this is the thing. And the second point, this is the second property. The third property is IC is downward sloping. That we have already proved. That is why I have not written here anything, because we have already proved they are downward sloping, because the positive marginal utility of X and Y. MUX is positive because the commodity is the normal good. MUY is also positive because Y is assumed as a normal good with a negative sign, so it is negatively sloped. So this is the third property. And what is the fourth property? The fourth property is it is convex to origin. That also we have discussed. This is convex to origin. Why they are convex to origin? Because why they are convex to origin? Look. Yes. Yes. You want to ask any question here? Do you want to give the answer that why they are convex to origin? Then tell me.
Law of diminishing marginal utility.
Yes, law of diminishing marginal utility. If you are increasing your consumption of X, that means you are moving like this, then your MUX is falling. Okay, MUX is falling and MUY is increasing. So that is why it is falling. That much is okay. But the thing is why it is convex. That means it is falling at the what can I say? It is falling at the lesser and lesser. The rate of fall is also less. Okay. MUY, this is falling. Okay. Let me write.
Ma'am, can I tell it that it
Yes.
decreases in a decreasing rate?
Marginal utility is falling at the decreasing rate because the
Yes, ma'am.
line is becoming flatter and flatter. Okay. So that is why it is convex. It is falling, so it is negatively sloped. But it is falling at the falling rate, then it is convex. Remember, okay? So the double differentiation is required here. The first differentiation will give you MUX by MUY. Again, if you differentiate it, then only you will get the convexity. That marginal utility of X is falling at the decreasing rate. Because the line, if you can remember, because of the law of diminishing marginal utility, the MUX is falling, but the line is becoming flatter and flatter close to its horizontal axis. Okay. So the line is becoming, the slope is falling actually. Huh? So that is why you are getting the convexity. Okay, so these are the properties of the indifference curve. The first one is higher IC means higher utility. The second one is ICs cannot intersect each other. That means they should be parallel to each other for a single consumer. Remember, if there are more than one consumer, then their indifference curves can intersect. Okay, anything can happen with two different individuals' indifference curve. But for a single individual, their indifference curves must be parallel to each other. Okay. IC is downward sloping and it is convex to origin. So these are the properties. Now once you are giving, look, once you are having this indifference curve, you can understand that, okay, I have indifference curve. That means along the indifference curve, my total utility is constant. Very good. So what is my objective? My objective is to have more and more of total utility, right? If I'm not happy with that indifference curve, so I'm going to the higher. Still I am not happy, so higher. Still I am not happy, so higher. So this is what my objective is. Okay, this is my objective. But the thing is it possible to go to the infinite level of indifference curve? Is it possible to achieve? Is it possible to go there? Because my objective is to go there. Hmm? My objective is to maximize, or rather my objective is to get the maximum total utility. So maximum total utility is somewhere here, or maybe out of this. Hmm. So is it possible to reach there? The answer is no. Why? Because there is a constraint. What is the constraint? Your income. Okay, your income is the constraint that shows your capacity. So based on the capacity, you can reach to the maximum utility, but infinite level of utility, it is not possible because there is a constraint of your income. So that is here, the budget line. The budget line is showing your constraint. This is actually called the budget constraint. We will explain what is the difference between the budget line and budget constraint. Huh? To say that, what is, first of all, what is the budget line? Combination of expenditure for two commodities so that income level is constant. Hmm. So again, it is the expenditure side. Now we have to, you have to remember that when you are going to consume a commodity, you have to spend. Okay, so the expenditure. So expenditure of two commodities so that income level is constant. As we are measuring x and y, so px into x, this is the total expenditure. Px is the price per unit, huh? And x is the amount of commodity consumed. So px into x, this is the total expenditure for x. Py into y, this is the total expenditure for y. So the right hand side is showing me the total expenditure of the consumer. Okay, and what is the income? Income is C. You can say it M, anything you want. Okay, so, and it is constant. Generally for a person, the income is given, right? So that is why bar is there. Hmm. So your total income is C bar, which you have to spend off this two. Now look, it is not necessary that you have to spend your total income for two commodities. You may not. Okay, you can save, right? You can save. In that case, actually what is that? The left hand side is your income and the right hand side is your expenditure. Okay, so it may possible that your expenditure is less than your income. Okay, so in that case you may get that equality will not be there. If your expenditure is less than your income, then the line will be like this. My income is greater, that equality will not be there. Income is greater than the expenditure. Okay, this is called budget constraint, right? This is called budget constraint. The constraint is still there. Okay, but my total expenditure is not equal to my total income. Rather, I am spending lesser than my income. And the question is then what to do with the rest of the income? You can save it. You can save it. You may have opposite symbol like this. This inequality is also possible. Your expenditure is higher than your income. So in that case, you have to borrow. Okay. So the saving is possible, borrowing is possible in reality. For any of these type of inequality, that equation is called the budget constraint. Okay. But here we are assuming there is no option of savings, there is no option of borrowing. So whatever money you are earning, you have to spend it. So that is why we are getting that equality sign. So this is called the equation of the budget line. Any problem from this discussion? Any doubt?
Ma'am,
Yes.
what are the conditions of budget constraint? There is only two conditions. Mean to say when expenditure is less than total income, and point two is expenditure is greater than total income. Is it enough?
Yes. That means inequality is also possible. Okay. If there is any such inequality, then it is called the budget constraint. Budget constraint is a larger set. But the thing is, if I am not allowing you to borrow or save, then that equality must be there. Okay, and we are just eliminating all those by the assumption that say there is no borrowing and savings. Okay, I'm just eliminating those complexities. Complications are just, there is no such complication. Okay, so you have this equality. Any other question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, is the budget line included in the budget constraint?
Yes, why not? It is.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, is there any particular reason you have changed x and y axes?
No, 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 no. The reason, truly speaking, the reason is my mistake. That is the reason. I should write I should write y here and x here. That will be easy for you to understand. But by mistake, I have written this. No, no other reason.
Ma'am, can you just explain the budget line once more?
Yes. In my budget line, first of all, in case of the budget line, these inequality signs will not be there. Okay. So there will be equality. Now, this equality equation, your left hand side is showing your total income and the right hand side is showing your total expenditure. As you are consuming only two commodities, so expenditure for the first commodity plus expenditure of the second commodity. Okay, so this is your total expenditure, which should be equal to your total income. This is the, this is how you can explain this equation.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
will you explain the slope part? Why it is
Yes, yes, I
negative?
will explain. I will explain. No issue. I have not explained it yet.
Okay.
Now the budget line is fine. So I am asking that if you have one equation as an economist, you are always trying to draw it. Hmm. So how to draw it? First of all, here we are measuring x and here we are measuring y. Not an issue. But the thing is how to measure it. First of all, you have to find out the intercept values. Hmm. So for the x intercept, that means on the vertical intercept, you have to put y is equal to 0. That means you are going to spend your total money or your total income for x. And how much x you can purchase. Okay. If you are not going to spend a single rupee for y, that means you are going to spend your total income for x, then what is the maximum x you can purchase? So that means y part is becoming 0. So C bar is equal to Px into x. So x is equal to C bar by Px. So this is the amount of x, the maximum amount of x you can purchase. You cannot purchase anything more than that for x. Okay. So this is here. So the value of the vertical intercept is C bar by Px. Similarly, you are getting the horizontal intercept C bar by Py. Done. So you have done two, you have found out the two intercept values. The next part is the slope. Okay? Otherwise, you cannot draw. So how to make the slope? Just total differentiate this equation. Hmm. Total differentiate this equation. Then you will get the left hand side is 0. Then right hand side is, yes, here comes the problem. Here comes the problem of my mistake. This is px into dx plus py into dy. The slope is dx by dy, right? The slope is dx by dy, but that will be py by px. But here it should be, একটা ভুল করলে কত সমস্যা হয় দেখো. It should be y and it should be x. Okay, it should be x. In your copy, please make this correction. Huh? Otherwise, you will also face that problem. Okay, I've just changed that axis. Hmm. Then you can understand the slope will be py px, sorry, dy dx, and it will be minus of px by py. Okay, so px is constant, py is constant, and these are the prices of the commodities which are given to us. So px by py is constant with a negative sign. So the line is negatively sloped, straight line. Okay, so my budget line is the negatively sloped straight line. Tell me your problem.
Ma'am, here the
Yes.
budget line represents C equals to Px into x plus Py into y. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But when the budget constraints are there, mean to say the expenditure is less than total income or
Mm-hmm.
the expense, how can it be included the line? It is either below the line or above the line.
Yes, if it is above the line, if it is
Then
above the line, then
expenditure
you are
is greater than
including this. Yes,
if it is above the line, then expenditure is greater than total
yes,
income.
yes, yes, yes. And there
Okay.
you have the budget line. That means you are somewhere here. So you may come here also. Okay. You are here doesn't mean you must be there. You may come here. You may come here. So if it is greater than your income is something greater than your expenditure, then you can avail any point along this line. So in that case, budget line is included in the constraint. But if it is less than, your expenditure is more than your income, that means you are here. So given all those points, it is not possible to be on this budget line. You cannot spend anything along this budget line. So then it is not included. But if it is greater, then it is included. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, understood.
Ma'am, please repeat
Yes.
what you said.
If yes, your income is greater than your expenditure. Okay. So say that means you are here. This line is showing the equality. Your income is equal to expenditure. But if your income is greater than your expenditure, that means with that income, you can purchase any commodity here, any commodity here, any commodity here. You can purchase any commodity here as well, right? So that means if your income is greater than your expenditure, you can purchase any commodity bundle on the budget line. So there I can say the budget line is included in your budget constraint. Okay, you can purchase, you may not, but you can purchase. But if your income is less than your expenditure, that means your income level is somewhere here. You cannot go here. Your income is making that obstacle. You cannot go beyond that. So in that case, your budget line is not included in the budget constraint. Okay, that is what I tell.
Okay, ma'am, understood.
Acha. Any other question from the budget line? Now look, if you have the budget line, it should be prominent, more prominent. Actually, because of the shortage of time, না আমি অনেক কিছু ভুলভাল করেছি. So, if your price, given all other things, if price of X has decreased, then what will happen? You get my point? All other things are constant. Px is falling. Look, on the vertical axis, you measured C bar by Py. So they are unchanged. C is unchanged. Py is unchanged. So there will be no change of the vertical axis. But in the horizontal axis, C bar is unchanged, but Px is falling. So the ratio is increasing. If the ratio is increasing, that means your new budget line will be like this. It's becoming flatter. Do you get my point? Not clear, na? You can explain it from other side. What I am saying, given all other things, Px is, say, Px is falling. Okay, say Px is falling. Done. I'm measuring x on the horizontal axis now. Huh? So my horizontal intercept is C bar by Px. The C bar is constant, but Px is falling. That means the denominator is falling. So the ratio is increasing. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
So then your horizontal intercept will be increased. And at the same time, look at the slope. Px by Py. So Px is falling, that means the value is falling. So line is becoming flatter. Negative of this value, na? So the line is becoming flatter. Okay. So this is how you can also explain. Now look, if Py, now tell me I'm asking you, given all other things, say Py. Py is increased, then what will happen with the budget line? If Py is increasing, then what will happen with the budget line?
It will become steeper.
it will become steeper. So the line may be like this. Look, Py is increasing. Okay. So the horizontal intercept is constant. There is no change in the horizontal intercept, but my budget line is like this. The vertical intercept is falling. Done. Now, given Px and Py, say your income has increased. Then what will happen? Income means C. Okay. Say C. Oh, কোথায় লিখছি?
Budget line shift to rightward.
Yes, the C is increasing. That means my income is increasing. Then how to show that? My budget line, that is my initial budget line. So my budget line will shift parallelly outward. Okay? Parallelly. Why parallelly? Because C bar by Py, C bar by Px, they are not changed. C is, sorry. Px and Py, they are unchanged, but C is changed. Okay, so by 20%. So here, the horizontal intercept will be increased by 20%. The vertical intercept will also increase by 20%. So same. So if my income is increasing, the budget line will shift parallelly. And based on the price changes, you can change your budget line. The slope will change in that case. If price is changing, then the budget line slope will change. Okay. So this is the budget line. Oh, now this is equilibrium.
Ma'am, can you explain if what will happen if Py increases?
Why not? If Py is increasing, the diagram is very clumsy. So initially this is your budget line. Okay. Okay. Now what is the value of the vertical intercept? C bar by Py. Done. Now Py is increased. So the denominator is increased. Okay. So the ratio will fall. The ratio will fall. C bar by Py is falling now. So now that means your vertical intercept will be reduced. So this is your new budget line. Okay.
So the
That,
budget line will become flatter.
yes. This one. Now if your Py is increasing, that means here also, if you look at the slope, just there, a minute. Yes. If Py is increasing, then Px by Py is falling. Right? If Px by Py is falling, that means that minus Px by Py is increasing. Then the line is becoming flatter. The slope is increasing, the line is becoming flatter.
Ma'am, slope will become steeper, no?
No, cannot?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am, it will become flatter though, not steeper.
ma'am, if Py
Look,
is increasing,
yes.
then you in every diagram you are just decreasing that y-intercept.
No. Remember one thing. Look, Px by Py minus Px by Py, this is your slope. Right? Now Py is increasing. That means Px by Py is falling. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So minus Px by Py is increasing.
Yes, ma'am.
So that means the line is becoming flatter. Your slope is increasing. The line should be flatter. The line should be flatter. Otherwise, how can you show that the slope is increasing? This is one way. And another way, if your Py is increasing, then C bar by Py, this is falling
Ma'am,
without any change. Yes.
if slope is zero, then it will be a horizontal line, right?
If the slope is 0,
The line will be
yes.
horizontal,
Yes.
and slope is infinite, then it will be vertical.
No. If slope is 0, then the line is parallel to the vertical axis.
What? Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Got it.
If it is infinite, then it is parallel to the horizontal axis. Can you remember the demand? If the demand is perfectly elastic, then the demand curve is parallel to the horizontal axis. That means if the slope is infinite, then it is parallel to the horizontal axis.
Ma'am, slope zero means it is horizontal, and infinity means it is parallel. Means it is
Yes, ma'am.
vertical.
The angle will be zero when the slope is zero, and angle will be infinity when the 90 degree when the slope is increasing.
Because tan zero is zero.
Yes, ma'am. Tan theta.
Tan theta.
But in economics, the dependent and independent variable has changed the axes.
No, that is not an issue. That is not an issue. What you are measuring on the vertical axis, that is an issue.
Ma'am, we can say that the slope is becoming positive from negative. So in that case, it is increasing, and the line is becoming flatter.
Yes, that is what I am telling.
Yes, ma'am.
The slope is increasing. So line is becoming flatter. That is what I am telling. Na?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, it is negative. That's why when it is increasing, it is becoming
Ha,
flatter.
ha, ha. That negative is an important issue here.
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Got it? Look, if the
Ma'am,
line is, yes, if the line is, just a minute, huh? If the line is parallel to the horizontal axis and you are measuring y here, that means dy is equal to 0. Okay, that is how you are measuring. That is why you are telling me. Okay, that is the confusion. But look, if the demand curve is like this, if the demand curve is like this, that means 1 by dy dx is 0. Okay. Yes, your question?
yes, ma'am. When the px is falling, then
Yes.
the px by py ratio is also falling.
Px is falling, so px by, yes.
Yes, then the slope is increasing now.
Px is falling, px by py is falling,
Also falling.
but
Then the
it has
slope
a
is
negative sign.
yes, ma'am. Minus the ratio is falling. So the slope is the slope is rising.
Minus of that. So that is how it is rising.
Minus of falling for the when the py is rising, then the proportion px by py is
Look,
rising.
look, 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 look. 2 is less than 3. Okay? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So minus 2 is greater than minus 3 now. So if minus is there, just opposite relation.
Yes.
So that is what happening here. Px here py is আমি না ভুলেই গেছি প্রথমটা py টা কি হচ্ছিল বাড়ছিল না কমছিল
Py increasing and
okay
px
py
falling.
is increasing so px by py is falling so minus px by py is increasing slope is increasing that is what I was telling.
Yes, ma'am. For the py issue, the slope is increasing. It is done. But
Hmm.
when the px is falling, then the
Hmm.
proportion px by py is also falling.
Hmm. But
Then what
minus
about
px
the
by
slope?
py is increasing.
Yes, ma'am. The slope is increasing now.
Yeah. So the line is
Yes,
becoming
ma'am.
flatter. That red line, look, that red line is that flatter
Red
one.
line. Okay. Now clear.
Okay. So let me go to the next one. This is the equilibrium. So you have your constraint, you know what is your limitation. Okay. In without economics, we should say this is my limitation. Okay. The budget line is showing me limitation. And the indifference curve is showing me my opportunity. Okay. So I have to maximize my opportunity given my limitation. Right. So in economics, I should say I want to maximize the utility given the budget constraint. Okay, so your utility, you can draw your indifference curve. What is the color of my pen? Should be red. Okay, you can draw your indifference curve like this. They should be parallel. Huh? Remember, they should be parallel to each other. You can draw this. You can draw this. This is indifference map. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So 3 is greater than 2 is greater than 1. Okay. Now look, that 1 is intersecting your budget line here and here. So the thing is whether these are also equilibrium. The answer is no. Why? Because if you are moving from this point, this intersection point along the budget line, then you can reach on the higher indifference curve. Then why should you stop here? You should not. Okay. Similarly, if you are moving from here along the budget line, because you are free to move along your budget line. Oh, this is your constraint. You can move along your budget line. So if you are moving like this, then also you can raise your utility level. You can move on the higher indifference curve. Your utility level will be increased. So why not? So that is why this is not your equilibrium. This is not your equilibrium. Is equilibrium is coming here at the point E. Okay. So what is the speciality of the equilibrium? The indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. So that is the property of my indifference. That is the property of my equilibrium. So if they are tangent to each other, that means at this point E, the slopes are equal. That is why they are tangent. So what is the slope of the indifference curve? It is MUX. It is MUX by MUY. Yeah, you can write that negative also, no issue. But I'm not writing, as I will have another negative in the other side of the equality, MUY. Okay. And that is equal to the slope of the budget line. What is the slope of the budget line? It is, oh, again that problem is coming. Px by Py. Okay. Okay. So that is the equilibrium condition. That is the equilibrium condition. You can write it some other way as well. Look, you can write that, okay, I'm not happy with this form. I want to write it in this way. MUX by PX MUX by PX is equal to MUY by PY. Okay, that is how you can also write, because you know this thing MUX is equal to PX. Can you remember the derivation of the demand? The equilibrium condition was MUX by PX. MUX is equal to PX. Okay, so here also you are getting like this. Now look, what is MUX? MUX, the marginal utility you are getting when you are consuming one commodity. So this is, you can say, the marginal benefit. Okay, left hand side numerator is showing you the marginal benefit from X. The denominator is showing the marginal sacrifice. So it's a ratio. Now, if it is not, say that equality is not there. Okay, then what will happen? Say there is no equality. I cannot erase that. I don't know how to erase those values. Say that this is the thing. MUX by PX is greater than MUY by PY. Say. Okay. See, this is the situation. It is not necessary that you always be on the equilibrium. You may not have the equilibrium. So this is here. MUX by PX is greater than MUY by PY. Very fine. So if this inequality you are facing, that means relatively you are getting more from X than from Y as compared to your sacrifice. Is it clear to you? Relatively, you are getting more from X than Y as compared to your sacrifice. Sacrifice is given by Px and Py.
Ma'am, means that the relative utility that I get
From X is greater
is
than that of Y.
okay.
So if it is, then it will encourage you to consume more X because you are getting more benefit from X. as compared to y. So it's better to go for x. Now when you are going to consume more and more of x, marginal utility of x will fall because of that diminishing law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay. Now when MUX is falling, and at the same time, if you are not so happy with y, it will reduce the consumption of y. So MUY is also increasing. So MUX is falling, MUY is increasing. The denominators are unchanged because I cannot do anything with px and py. But MUX is falling, MUY is increasing. Ultimately, I will get the equality. So again, my equilibrium condition will be this. Okay. So this is how logically you can explain. Without diagram, you can explain like this. Does
Ma'am,
MUX? Yes.
can you explain the last part when MUX is falling and MUY is increasing, that part?
Yes. Why MUX is falling? Because I am increasing my consumption of X. I am very much happy with X, so I am increasing the consumption of X. Because of law of diminishing marginal utility, my MUX is falling. And with the same logic, MUY is increasing. Because I am not so satisfied with Y. So I am leaving Y. Okay. This numerator is falling, so the ratio is falling. And here the numerator is increasing, so this ratio is increasing. So finally you will get the equality and you will achieve this inequality. Okay, so equilibrium condition will be
Okay.
like this. Okay, so this is the equilibrium condition. So with the relative utility also, you can explain your equilibrium without using this diagram. Okay, so this is how you are getting your optimum consumption y star and x star. Generally, star is using to mention the equilibrium level of consumption or employment like this. Okay, so x star and y star is my equilibrium level of consumption. Now look, if there is an increase in income, these are some examples. Okay, if income of the consumer is increased, then what will happen? Initially, your equilibrium is at E1. Now the equilibrium is at E2 because look, these two budget lines are parallel to each other. We explained why it is so. Because that C is increasing. Na? So my horizontal intercept is increasing, my vertical intercept is increasing without changing any Px and Py. Okay, so you have the new equilibrium E2. So E1 and E2. Now look, if you compare E1 and E2, look, consumption of X and Y both have increased. Now, X consumption was here, X consumption is here. Y consumption was here, Y consumption is here. So consumption of both X and Y is increasing. Why? Because X and Y are assumed as a normal good. Okay. If there is a fall in price, this is the initial budget line with equilibrium E1. This is the new budget line with the equilibrium E2. Here also, your income is unchanged. The price of Y is also unchanged. But consumption of X and Y both have increased. As price of X is falling, you have some extra money in your hand after purchasing X. So you can spend that money for Y, provided Y is a normal good. Okay, if you assume Y as a normal good, then only you will spend that extra money which you are not the extra money which you have for Y. So this is how you are consuming more of X and Y. Okay, so these are some examples. So this type of question where I say this is happening, then what will happen with your equilibrium consumption? So here you have to draw the diagram and remember one thing. Because of the scarcity of time, I have not mentioned, but you have to mention the names. For example, here only the equilibrium is mentioned, but you have to write. Say my initial budget line is A, B. Okay. After falling in the price of X, the budget line is becoming A, B dash. Okay. Okay, so this is how you can explain. You must mention the names here, not only the equilibrium but also the names of the budget line. And at the same time, if possible, you can just drop these lines and showing how your X and Y consumption is changing. Okay, you can also use these lines. The dotted lines will be better. Fine. Okay. Any question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
so both the optimal consumption of X and Y goods will increase if either the price fall or the income increases.
Mhm. If X and Y are normal, we will show you. I hope today or by tomorrow is not possible. I don't know. I'm trying very hard not to go to the college. If possible, then I will take tomorrow's class as well. And if I have to go to the college, then I'm sorry, then I will take your class on next Thursday. But anyway, today I will take your class at 4 p.m. I am trying very hard to show you that it is not always true. So many options may arise. Your Y consumption may fall. Your Y consumption may be unchanged. Your X consumption may fall. Anything can possible. And we will show everything. We will show you all the options. Hmm. But here it is like this. This is the simplest part. So both X and Y consumption has increased.
And ma'am, in both the cases, the indifference curve will shift rightwards.
Yes, this is what I am assuming. You can shift your demand curve anywhere based on the condition. Here I am assuming the price of X is falling, so the line is becoming flatter. It is becoming AB dash. And here my income has increased, so the line, budget line has shifted parallelly upward. You can do anything.
And so will happen with the IC curve.
I see these are parallel to each other.
Means they will shift rightwards when the income will
Yes,
increase.
here.
Okay.
Given my condition, it is shifting to the left, but it may not be always. If there is a fall in income, then E2 will be to the left of E1. I am assuming my income has increased, but if my income will fall, then my equilibrium will be somewhere below E1.
Okay. Okay. And similar, if the price will fall.
Yes, here the price has increased. If here price is falling, but if price is increased, then E2 will be to the left of E1.
Okay.
I have a doubt regarding the point A, because when the price is falling, then the consumption level is increasing. Then can we shift the AB curve to the A dash B dash? Why we stick to the
No,
point
no, no.
A?
Because what is the value of your vertical axis? What is the value of A? A is C bar by PY, right? Here,
Right.
look,
Hmm.
A, C bar by PY. So your
Yes.
income is constant, PY is constant. How can you change your vertical intercept? X is falling. That is the thing, nothing else.
Okay, I think the price of two commodity also
No,
falling.
no,
There
no.
is my
Given all
mistake.
other things, price of X is falling. Price of,
Okay.
yes,
Hmm.
price of X is falling.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Um, I was asking that under what conditions can an indifference curve shift?
In any of the condition, there is no such shifting. It is not like the shifting of demand curve and supply curve. There are infinite number of indifference curves are there. So it is based on if you are increasing consumption, and look at this here. This is your initial indifference curve. Given the Y consumption, if you will increase your X consumption, definitely you can go to the higher indifference curve. Similarly, given your X consumption, if you increase your Y consumption, then also you may reach on the higher indifference curve. So this is how you can shift your indifference curve. You have to consume, you have to change your consumption. Then only you can move from one to another indifference curve.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Okay. Composite code. This is also in your syllabus. It's very easy. Why? Because generally what we are doing generally in real life, we are consuming a lot of commodities. We are not consuming only two commodities per day, right? So how to incorporate many commodities in our two-dimensional space? The concept is the composite code. Here what you have to do? Here say you are consuming n number of commodities. Okay, say you are consuming n number of commodities. Okay, n number of commodities. So out of that you have to measure one commodity on the horizontal axis and remaining n minus one commodity on the vertical axis. So here you have to club all other commodities and then you can measure it on the vertical axis. This is called the composite code. Okay. In in short, I can say this. So this is how you can incorporate all of your end commodity consumption. But here you have to club. How can you club? There are so many ways to do that. Index, you can use the index process, weighted index process and all this. So that is how you can make the composition, the composite good. But you can do this. This is the concept of composite code. Okay. Now for this part, this is also in your syllabus, subsidy in cash versus subsidy in kind. This is the last part of this class and then I will stop. I will continue in the next class. So for this portion, this is not in your man queue. Uh, this is very good in Madla and Miller. Anyone in this class who has Madla and Miller? This is another book of microeconomics, Madla and Miller. Anyone in this class who have it? Madla and Miller, the blue colored book? No. Okay, I will share. I will take the photo and then I will share it in LMS as a class note. That analysis I have taken from Madla and Miller. So what is that? Subsidy in cash. Subsidy in cash means sometimes government is giving some money to the people. For example, Konyasri. You know Konyasri? Some amount of money is given to the girl student for a certain age. If the age, I'm not sure the
Ma'am,
age
your
may
voice is
be.
coming very slow, like very
Why? I'm
soft.
shouting. You cannot hear? Any other students? Is it clear to all of you or
Yes,
general
ma'am, you are
problem?
audible.
Yes. Your mic is making some problem. Check it.
Okay.
So, so look, what is coming? The subsidy in cash. Subsidies in cash means sometimes the government policies like that, given certain criterion, government is giving some money to the person. Say 100 rupees per month, 500 rupees per month. So this is just going to the bank account. And with that money, the person can do anything. Okay, he can consume, he can spend, he can save, whatever he want, he can do it. So this is the subsidy in cash. Okay, and subsidy in kind means, for example, Konyasri. In case of Konyasri, if the age is 18 years, if the girl has the age of 18 years, then I don't know the exact money. It's around 5,000 or 10,000. I don't know. That much of money is going to the bank account of the girl. So this is the cash. Actually, the objective of this cash payment is to give her the opportunity so that he can study if he wants. He can go for some skill development program. So this is how she can spend the money. Okay. So the money is given by the government and she has to decide what to do with that money. There are some people who are using that money. Okay, I remember that the money is 25. 25,000. Hmm. So sometimes the people are using that money for their marriage. So now that was definitely not the objective of the government. But anyway, you can do that. You can use that money for anything. So this is called subsidy in cash. And subsidy in kind, for example, the state government was giving bicycle to the students. You know that, na? কি যেন লেখা থাকতো ওতে?
সবুজ সাথী ম্যাডাম।
Yes, সবুজ সাথী. Very good. So that is the subsidy in kind. Huh? Government is not giving you the money so that you can purchase that bicycle. It is also for the student. If so that you don't face any problem to go to your school. So that is why government is giving you that bicycle, that particular commodity. Okay, so this is called subsidy in kind. Okay, so you can understand, I hope, what is subsidy in cash and what is subsidy in kind. Now the question is, which one is good? Which one is good, cash or kind? What is your view? What do you think?
I'm subsidy in kind.
Ma'am, for the person
Subsidy
it's
in kind.
in cash, but for the government it's in kind.
Okay, now listen my answer. I'm not sure. My answer is, I'm not sure which one is good. It depends on the slope of the indifference curve. Let me explain it. First, let me explain the budget line. AB is the initial budget line of that consumer without any kind of subsidy. Okay? Without any kind of subsidy, AB is the budget line. Now, subsidy in cash is given. Fine? Say the subsidy in cash is given. Hello? Just a minute. No. Okay. Say the subsidy in cash is given. What happened? Okay. So it is just like increase in income. Today your income is 2000. In the next month your income will be 2500 because that 500 is given by the government. So it's just like your income has increased. So if your income will increase, the budget line will shift parallelly to the right. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the new budget line will be CD. So the new budget line will be CD. Okay. So new budget line will be CD in that case. Okay, fine. Now say the subsidy in kind is given. Fine. And the kind is for commodity X. Okay. Not for commodity Y. So some amount of commodity X is given to you by the government. Done. Without any money. Government is giving you that commodity X. So subsidy in favor of commodity X. So what happened? What is the significance of point A? At point A, you are spending your total income for Y consumption, right? At point A, it is C bar by PY. Can you remember? This is the amount of money, the total income you are going to spend for Y. Then you can achieve A. Now, given A, this is the amount of X given to you. This is the amount of X given to you at any level of consumption of Y. Okay. So that is why ED. So what is the new budget line for the consumer? AED. It's a kinked budget line. AED. That CE portion is not there. AED. This is the new budget line. ED portion is parallel to the AB and AE is equal to BD. Okay, so this is the budget line for subsidy in kind. Budget line is okay?
Ma'am, can you
Ma'am,
repeat the subsidy in kind part?
AED part, can you repeat?
Yes. Subsidy amount. First of all, the subsidy in kind is in favor of X. How much? AE. Okay. So for any consumption of Y, you are getting AE amount of commodity X. So the new budget line, that is ED, is parallel to AB. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now look, what about point A? At the point A, you are spending your total income for Y. That is the significance, that is the implication of A. Okay. At the point A, you are spending your total income for Y only. You are not spending for X. But as X is given at that level also, so given the A, the opportunity is AE. Okay, you can move along AE and then ED. So the budget line is becoming AED. Okay.
Ma'am, that AE part, I didn't understand.
Now AE, actually look, AE is the amount of X given as a subsidy in kind. So this is available for each and every level of your consumption of Y. Okay, so even you are consuming at A, that means you are spending your total income for Y, then also you are having the opportunity to consume AE amount of X. Is that okay?
Yes.
So then what is the budget line? The budget line is AED.
Ma'am, why we are joining A&E?
Because this is the amount of subsidy in kind. This is the option. This, look, A is the option. You can go there. You can go there. I'm not telling that you have to be there. You can consume here. But given A, this is the amount of X you are having. Now the question is whether you will consume that much or not. This is your problem.
Ma'am,
But
how
this
can we
option is
consume
open to
A?
you.
Ma'am, how can we consume A if the government is giving subsidy? Then whatever happens, we get AE part we are getting. So how can we
Yes.
consume A? We have to start our consumption from E.
No, no, no. Stop your mic, guys. Echo. Uh, so what happened? This is given to you. Doesn't mean you have to consume it. You may consume here a part of that subsidy. You may not consume that subsidy. That means you are here. It is your decision. But this option is open to you. You can you can consume here. You can consume here. You can consume in between A and B. So that option is given to you. It's not the cycle that you have to use it. A cycle is indivisible commodity. But if it is food grain, this much of food grain is given to you. Say X is the food grain. So this much of food grain is given to you. So you may consume here, you may consume here, you may consume the total subsidy. This is your decision.
So,
Ma'am,
ma'am, if we want, we can consume the whole AE part.
What is the question?
If we want, we can consume the whole AE part, means the whole
Yes,
subsidy.
yes, yes, yes. In that case, your consumption will be here.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
If you are not interested to use that subsidy, you can consume here as well.
Okay. It's on our
It
choice.
is your decision, but the option is open to you. This is the option. This is the opportunity.
Okay, ma'am.
So, ma'am, in the case of
uh,
bicycle, which is
No,
indivisible,
the bicycle,
it
look,
will.
bicycle, I have just given you an example. Bicycle, it cannot be here because here generally we are measuring X and Y, the commodities who are infinitely divisible. The fraction of X consumption is possible. Otherwise, you cannot draw that smooth line. Hmm.
Okay.
It is the food grain. For example, it is the food grain. So 5 kg of rice is given to you. So you can consume 500 gram, you can consume 5 kg, you can consume 2.5 kg. It's your choice. But the option is 5 kg. Availability is 5 kg. You have to choose your own consumption bundle. That depends on your indifference curve. But budget line is showing you the option.
Okay, so here the commodities they are divisible.
Yes, yes. We are assuming. Otherwise, you cannot draw this smooth line. It will be
Yes,
king to one. This like this.
it will be something dotted something.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So that
Okay.
I think that
Ma'am,
budget. Yes.
ma'am, when the subsidy is in the terms in cash, then the new budget line is shifted to CD from
Yes.
AB.
Mhm.
Yes, and when the subsidy in kind, then it is AED. So the
And
ED
actually,
part
just
is
to compare, no, no, just to compare, we are assuming that the subsidy in cash is equivalent to subsidy in kind. That is why the one budget line is imposed on another budget line.
okay, mean to say they are not coincident.
No, no. This is what can I say? Intentionally, I have drawn this.
Okay,
Otherwise, you cannot
understood.
compare. Your base should be same. So the value of subsidy is same. Now the question is which one you will prefer, cash or kind? Okay. So 100 rupees is given to you and the commodity worth of 100 rupees is given to you. Which one you will prefer? Is that okay?
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Now look, now I have nothing to say. This is a simple diagram which can explain to you everything. Look at the first. There are three options, first of all. Look at the first diagram. Your initial equilibrium is here. Your final equilibrium is here. So you are indifferent between subsidy in cash and subsidy in kind because your new equilibrium is on the common path of the new budget line. No? So anything is accepted. Subsidy in cash is okay. Subsidy in kind is also okay because you can achieve the same utility level. Okay. Look at the second. It is on the kinked point. So that king point is also common for both the budget line. So here also the consumer is indifferent between subsidy in cash and subsidy in kind. But what about the third option? If your indifference curve is such that your new equilibrium on the dotted line, then definitely that you cannot achieve if subsidy in kind is given to you. So here you will definitely prefer subsidy in cash. Otherwise you cannot reach there. Okay. So everything is dependent on the slope of the indifference curve. Is it okay?
Ma'am, please repeat this part once more. These three diagrams.
Yes. This is your initial budget line for the first diagram, for the second diagram, for the third diagram. Okay. Now, given the slope of the budget line in the first diagram, your new equilibrium here. So this point is common for the subsidy in cash and subsidy in kind. This stretch is common. So if you have any equilibrium, your new equilibrium is on this common part, then you are indifferent between subsidy in cash and subsidy in kind. Anything is accepted. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the second diagram? If you are at the kinked point, that kink point is also common for both. So still you are indifferent between subsidy in cash and subsidy in kind. Okay.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
And what about the third? It is on the dotted line. This is only possible if subsidy in cash is given. In case of kind, you cannot go there. Then you have to stop here on the king point. You cannot go there. So if your indifference, the slope of the indifference curve is like this, it is a little bit flatter. In that case, you are definitely going for subsidy in cash. Here the preference is single, subsidy in cash. So it depends on your choice. It depends on your decision.
So, ma'am, ultimately, I am happy with the equilibrium consumption of both the goods, and it will
Hmm.
depend on the indifference curve.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
what
you
is
said
the
it in the third,
significance?
Yes.
ma'am, in the third diagram, you said that the new IC curve is flatter.
Yes. Look now. If you can compare the slopes, you can see it's a bit flatter sort of thing. And that is why you are achieving your equilibrium on this dotted line. The dotted line is only for the subsidy in cash. So here you will prefer the cash.
Okay, ma'am, understood, ma'am.
And can you repeat once the significance of the dotted line?
The dotted line is for the subsidy in cash. Here, CE portion. This is for subsidy in cash. And here you are getting
Yes.
your equilibrium on the dotted line. So definitely you will prefer subsidy in cash. If it is kind, then you cannot go there. This is beyond the reach if it is subsidy in kind. So you will not prefer subsidy in kind.
Okay.
Okay. So I am going to share